Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. Y'all, so it's cold. I'm still in the outdoor, I'm still in my outside space. I do have on my jacket and my scarf. The temperature is dropping. I'm in the southeast US. So wherever you are probably feeling exactly what I'm feeling. When I first imagined recording this video today, I could see myself not because I feel some kind of way about recording, but the energy around me is really thick. And so the nature of the reading is reflecting what I'm personally experiencing. So this definitely is something that collectively we could benefit from. But the message I heard about this reading is let the dead bury the dead. And so I know we are all tapped into a lot of different spiritual information. A lot of us watch the skies, we follow the stars, we follow the planets, we pay attention to transits, and we pay attention to it all. And so we understand that this is a season where there's going to be a separation. And for a period of time, a lot of us may have been dead. Not because we chose to be dead, but there were aspects to us that we just didn't even know existed. And so now we're able to feel things that we have never been able to feel. We're knowing things that maybe we could sense, but we couldn't put words to, right? If mentally we were plagued with distractions, or if we just kind of had that the confusion and the illusions, these are all of the things that are going to almost break away. And this is a collective experience. And individually, we are all experiencing it, but obviously at a different pace. We're not all at the same spot. And so for this reading, when I'm saying let the dead bury the dead, I mean that if you are in the process of building and growing and stepping into the version of you that doesn't look like the dead version that you used to be, there are a lot of dead people around you. There are a lot of dead energies and stagnant lives that don't necessarily know how to bring themselves back together. And so when you start to step out as Lazarus, when you start to kind of come back to life after being dead and gone, there are a lot of people around you that are almost going to take offense to the fact that you are doing something. And so this is the reading, or this is the energy in this reading, is really talking about the projections. If you were dealing with projections, this is almost like the energy of the Antichrist or the devil. And so inside of us, we all carry a certain amount of darkness, right? And so that is where we have our fear. That is where we have the illusions. And so when you start to stretch outside of your fear, when you start to chase and go after the unknown, the projections that are sent onto you are wanting you to not pull from your wisdom. It doesn't want you to pull from your light. It doesn't want you to pull information from your higher self about how to go forward. And so when the projection comes, this reading says that it comes in the form of evil eyes, right? And so these are people that watch you. They watch how you move. They watch your patterns. They watch your rhythms, right? And every time they're watching you, they're almost calculating what to attack or what to pull down. And when they're attempting to pull you down, they want to pull you down to a state of fear, a state of confusion, right? And so if you're walking forward, these are people that want you to stop. If you know you're supposed to go right, they want you to go left, right? If you know that you're supposed to stand, they want you to sit. But all of your commands, all of your instruction, all of your guidance is coming from the Most High. And so it is in this season that you have to choose, am I going to remain dead, or am I literally going to allow the resurrection to take place? And so individually, we are going through our own series of resurrections, and then collectively, we are all going through a mass awakening where we are essentially coming online to the reality of who we are and what we are really here to do. And so the reading talks about you're going through this transformation. And although change is very much natural and normal to anybody that has been dead for 5 years, 10 years, 20, 25, or 30 years, to them, what you're doing, the transformation that you're making is not normal and it is not natural. And so instead of really being able to self-reflect and to ask those questions to themselves, well, how are they doing that? But a lot of people don't ask those questions. They just immediately take offense. And so I always talk about being offended. That is the trap. That is Satan's way. If the way you move, the way you speak, the way you talk, the way you live life, of any decision that you know you are divinely supposed to make, when people become offended by that, they have essentially fallen in Satan's trap. And so once they are trapped, their mind and their emotions are essentially at the will of the Antichrist. They're at the will of the devil. And when I say the devil, I mean the darkness in them is now controlling them. And it's going to use their minds, their hands, their feet, and their mouth in order to stop or in order to stagnate you. And so you are going through a transformation, but you're also being projected on. And so if you feel evil eyes, the evil eyes are coming from people that are carrying a massive amount of pride. These are people that are really satisfied with their own achievements. They're satisfied with their own success. They love the groups that they are a part of. They love the work that they have put in over the years. And these are people that don't want to change or shift. Now, these are people that thought that they were living. They thought that they were alive. They thought that they were moving and thinking and feeling based on the Most High. But this is how you're going to know who was working for the Most High and who was working for the devil. When you start to wake up and when you start to move different, when you accept the transformation, when you decide, oh, so I'm supposed to come back to life, well, let me come back to life. A lot of people are going to be offended that you are choosing and moving the way you're moving. And so the projections that I am personally experiencing in my own environment are the same projections that are coming out in this reading. There are people full of pride. They are so satisfied with themselves. But if you're really happy with yourself, why do you calculate attacks on other people? Happy people don't cause harm to other people. Don't we all hurt people, right? And so when you are transforming and changing and people are inflicting hurt upon you, I mean, everybody, doesn't that give you enough indication that something is wrong with you, that you are hurt? But people can't reflect. They're dead. They are dead. And when I say dead, I'm talking about spiritually dead. And so when you answer your spiritual calling, like when you pick up the phone and you agree to the assignment that you were given, it is only an assignment that you can be given. When you answer that call and you kind of walk away from the ways of the world, or you put down the materials, or you just no longer allow the worldly affairs to be your first priority because you have accepted your spiritual assignment as your first priority. When you make that transformation and when you make that move, this is when the evil eyes really start eviling. This is when the projections come. There are a lot of people that are dead, and they're dead because they're heartbroken. Now, all of us have experienced heartbreak. All of us have experienced pain. And the difference between those that are dead and those that are living is how you respond to the heartbreak and how you respond to the pain. Some people just stay hurt. Some people just stay bitter. Some people just stay offended. They stay in a state of despair. And so when they know that you have been through similar things and you have come back to life, they're offended because they didn't come back to life, and they found a way to be satisfied with their death. They found a way to live in it. They found a way to love it, to make peace with it. And a lot of them made peace with it by lying to themselves. The worst lie is the lie that you can tell to yourself. And there are a lot of dead people that have been telling themselves lies over the years. But when you start to move different and think different, and when you start to transform without even knowing it, you are shattering the lies. You are shattering the illusions that they have told themselves. So here's the thing. When the evil eye comes, when you feel the projections, and in the environment I'm in, I really don't talk to many people here. And if I do, it's surface level, not because I choose to, but because there's no other aspect of myself that I'm willing to share. So it needs to be surface. When you start to transform, this is essentially, excuse me, this is essentially you calling it. Now I'm going to start coughing and hacking. I can already, hold on, y'all. All right, y'all, my bad. No surprise there. I haven't coughed. I haven't had an issue with anything, but we know what that means, right? So here's the thing. The evil eye is being sent towards your manifestation. When you start to come to life and you start manifesting, this is when the attacks get heaviest. This is when things become hardest. This is when your finances are going to start to shift and change in ways that you couldn't predict. This is when your health is going to be tampered with. This is when maybe your car or things around your house or maybe your children's behavior, like anything that can be touched will be touched. And the reason why it's being touched is because all they want you to do is to put down the manifestation. When you're coming to life and you're answering your divine calling, you are stepping in the process of manifesting. So I read something today. I'm going to try my best to remember. I never really get this stuff right. But it was saying that, like, when you visualize something, when you have a thought, your thought goes to the universe. And when you can feel the thought, like when you feel happy about the thought, when you feel a sense of joy or satisfaction about whatever it is that you're attempting to think about that you want to manifest, then your heart calls it in. And so when you think it, you send it out to the universe. And when you feel it, you pull back in what it is you want the universe to give you based on the thought that you sent out. And so that is essentially manifesting. This is you sending out a projection, calling it back in emotionally. And so it is in the process of you manifesting that the projections and the evil eyes being sent to you are going to want you to think that you are making the wrong decision. They are going to want you to think that if you don't stop, there are going to be consequences. And the way that they get you to believe that there are going to be consequences is they essentially attack your life, they attack your health, they attack your finances and relationships. All of this is to get you to drop the manifestation. If you drop what you're manifesting, you're gonna die. You will return to being dead. Okay? And so a lot of people that have been stuck in their own misery, a lot of people that didn't know how to come back to life, a lot of people that don't know how to recover, they have made peace with their death. And so when they watch you come back to life and pick up manifestations and heal your own wounds, now they are uncomfortable, right? Now they recognize, oh my God, so I've been lying to myself all these years, right? Yeah, you just made peace in your casket. Some of us refuse to stay down. Some of us, we couldn't if we wanted to. And so the difference between us and them is not that we don't experience heartbreak and grief and despair and pain. It's about what we do with it. It's about how we respond to it. And so a lot of people will take offense to the way that you respond to the same type of pain that they experienced. And so in order to get you to stop, they will continue to project pain. Now, the ways that they project pain, it can be gossip, it can be lies, it can be deceit, it can be theft, right? There are a lot of ways that people want to project pain. Now, it never makes sense to us because we're like, listen, I don't even have a lot. Like, I'm not even really doing anything. But you're doing enough. You're doing enough to the fact that when they look at you, the mirror is so strong. The mirror is so strong that it forces something to shift in them. Now, never in life would they think that this is the way of the Most High. Never in life would they think that this is actually the beginning to their healing. No, right? Because a lot of people are emotionally immature, or they're not emotionally intelligent. And so when those feelings come, they totally can be 77, but they're actually 7 inside, right? And so when we see people that are in their adulthood, we often think that because they got bigger and taller, that everything inside of them also grew at the same rate as their body. But that is not the case. There are certain heartbreaks and there are certain setbacks in life that keep you stunted. What do we arrested development, right? And so something can happen to you at the age of 10, at the age of 9, and you could be 50, but you could very much be a 9-year-old inside, right? Because you were never able to process that pain. You were never able to process that grief. And so for a lot of divine beings that are coming back from the dead, you are processing things and you are transmuting things that the people around you just didn't know how to do. And so instead of following you, a lot of them decide to attack and to stop you because they didn't like the way your reflection made them feel. And so that is the projection of the evil eye. And it's really going to begin in your mental space. When you're in the process of essentially picking up your manifestation and walking with it, every projection is going to want to turn your clear thought into an emotion. Emotions are not rational. And so this happens to me. Sometimes I'll post a video and I'll feel so good about it, and you guys will give me good feedback, and I'm like, oh God, I don't want to post another one. What if it's not good? Like those things. Like, I'm the same person that just posted 100 something videos. Like, why would I ever think that I wouldn't be able to post one more? But these are the type of projections. This is the doubt, this is the fear, this is the hesitancy, right? And this is the dead, not wanting, essentially. Here's the thing. When you start moving forward with your manifestation, I almost feel like you open their casket. A lot of people are comfortable in the casket that they have been living in. But when you get out of yours and you start stretching and moving and smiling and being at peace with the next life that you received when you answered the call from the Most High, like when you answered the call, you were like, oh, okay, I know what to do. I know where to go. I know how this should unfold. A lot of people, it's not that they couldn't get the call. They didn't put themselves in the position to even have access to the phone because their casket was closed. They just made peace with the death that they experienced, or they didn't make peace with it, but they just continued on with their life. Okay. And so this is a reading that as soon as you start to pick up and walk with your manifestation, there are going to be projections, and there are going to be 10 of swords type of moments, backstabbing, betrayal, deceit, lies. I mean, anything you can think of. And it is all supposed to stop you, and it's supposed to make you think that you are choosing the wrong decision. You were choosing the wrong way. And I'm telling you that if you stop and if you get back in that casket and if you put down your manifestation, then the devil wins. And the devil that wins is the devil that you carry inside of you. That's the one that's afraid. That's the one that's doubtful. That's the one that believes every illusion that the evil eyes are casting upon you. And so, y'all, although many of us are waking up, it doesn't necessarily get easier. No, because the projections become more frequent, or the projections, there's more volume to them because more people are participating than them. Your manifestation is your justice. When you get out of the casket, because you have received the call, whatever the Most High has given you to do, you are carrying your justice. Whatever your manifestation is going to give you the life after death moment. If you put it down, you return to the casket. If you keep going, life is ahead. And so everything inside of these people wants you to just put it down. And if you don't put it down, you destroy their ego. If you don't put it down, you cause chaos in their life, because what they thought was comfortable is now, it's burdensome. You have revealed to them something that they lacked, something not that they couldn't do, but something that they didn't even attempt to do. So I honestly believe that everybody can get the call, everybody can get the assignment, but you've got to be in the position. You've got to be in the position to even receive the phone. But if your casket is closed and you're comfortable, then I can't get nothing in there to you. Okay? And so I almost feel like when you start moving, people start opening their caskets, kind of peeking out to see what you got going on. And all they really want to do is shove you back in it and close it because they were comfortable doing what they were doing. And so there are a lot of people who feel pride. They feel a sense of success and achievement with who and what they are, even if they have lived the majority of their lives in the casket. They loved it. It was comfortable. It was satin lined, right? They had good cushion, like they loved it. And then here you come, snatching off veils, right? Removing illusions. Specifically in this reading, the divine feminine is really the focus, because that is the jump off. The divine feminine energy and essence is the jump off for what is happening in our world right now. It is you who carries the seed. It is you who plants the seed. It is you who returns to the seed every day to nurture it. And obviously you don't need to be an actual feminine to carry this energy or to be moving in this type of essence to grow the new world that we know we're supposed to be a part of, right? And so as you're attempting to grow the next one, because we're all carrying our manifestations independently and individually, as you carry your manifestation, people are shoving you and kicking you and tripping you and throwing things at it, anything they can possibly do to get you to drop it. And sometimes you might drop it. Sometimes you might be working consistently for a month and then you might put it down for a week, right? Sometimes you might drop it for a couple days and then you'll pick it right back up. The idea is that you always pick it up. I think it is realistic to consider that sometimes we will need to take a break. You will have to stop. You will have to reflect. You will have to settle. But if you never pick it back up, then they win. And now you're a part of the dead, burying the dead. Y'all, we're not dead. If you answered the call and if you understand your assignment, then you were never supposed to be in anybody's casket. You were never supposed to live a life that was unfulfilling, full of despair and loneliness. That is not your calling. There are a lot of people that are living in caskets and they don't recognize that they are under a curse. They don't recognize that they have made an agreement with the curse that they are living. And when you break the curse off of your life, they will return day after day, night after night, in order to get you to go back in that damn casket. Your manifestation is your justice. The only way to not return to the casket and the only way to experience life after death is literally to carry it and never stop. I mean, maybe you'll hold it and you'll stop for a little bit, but you got to keep it in your possession. Everything wants to knock it down. Everything wants to take it from you, right? But everybody didn't get the call and everybody didn't get the assignment. And so the reality is that there are a lot of envious spirits. There are a lot of people that are wondering why they couldn't do what you're doing, or why they didn't get the assignment, or why they don't have the gift, or why they don't have the ability. That is not a question that you should ever attempt to answer. That is never your challenge. And so this reading says that, listen, the God in you is your creativity. Everybody is carrying a piece of the Most High. And the way you express yourself creatively is an indication that the Most High is in you. And however you are called or chosen to express it is only something that you are called to do. Nobody else can do it. Nobody has to agree. Nobody has to confirm or validate or sign off or co-sign. You know, a lot of people want to be a lot bigger than they are. There are a lot of people who can't even control their own life, but they will attempt to control yours. And then we're talking about delusion. Listen, ego is a hell of a drug. And the majority of people are very addicted to it. It keeps them safe. It makes them feel secure. But when you move around in truth and you move around in authenticity, and when you allow wisdom to guide you, sometimes it can dwarf the ego. It can make the ego feel small and insignificant. And not necessarily your ego, but those that are watching you, because they don't have the same answers. They don't have the same movements. They don't have the same patterns. And so this is where they become offended. And so once they're offended, they got to get rid of that feeling. They don't want to feel less than. They don't want to feel embarrassed. They don't want to feel ashamed. They don't want to reveal to themselves who they really are or who they really aren't. And so the only way to keep the lie a lie that they have told themselves is to get you to drop the manifestation, is to get you to stop walking, is to get you back in that casket. But I'm telling you, the manifestation that you are carrying is the peace of God that you were asked to create with. Your creativity, your expression, that is your heart. That is your heart showing itself to the world. It is powerful, it is mighty, it is divine, and it has purpose. And so if you were dealing with projections and evil eyes, everything about them wants you to be limited. It wants you to go back to the limited or the lesser version of self that didn't even believe that you could do this, that didn't believe that you had a service to provide another. They didn't want you to think that you were a disciple and you had a mission or a fellowship to take part in. It is when you freely express yourself that any projection, any ill intent that was directed towards you, it is when you express yourself creatively that the justice must be balanced. Meaning, God just wants you to keep walking. God just wants you to get to the point where you are safe and secure in your own expression, when you are confident, even if you have no followers, even if you have no likes, even if you have no comments. Right? You have to get to the point where you can do it every day, even without the attention from another. This is what strengthens the heart. This is what solidifies your creative expression. And so I'm asking you that when the 10 of Swords moments come, when the lies, when the deception, when the betrayal comes, I want you to keep going. If you believe that the betrayal is real, you are going to think, oh my God, I've made the wrong decision. I shouldn't have done this. I got to stop. Everything's going wrong. But I promise you, if you answered that call, you need to acknowledge that you chose your spirit life over the material world. A lot of people can't do that. They can't do it. They need too much validation. They need to remain comfortable. They need the lie. They need the lie to continue. And the worst lie is the one they've told themselves, right? And so when you refuse to lie to yourself and you refuse to accept a lesser version of yourself, a lot of people were pretty fine being small until you came. And so the divine feminine is going to go through many natural disasters, and every natural disaster is supposed to test your ability to survive. But I want you to know that every time you survive, you shrink or you destroy one of the limitations that they attempted to chain to you, right? I mean, everybody would love you to be sick and weak and timid and afraid and depressed and anxious. Everybody would love that, right? As the divine feminine, to be walking around in that type of energy, everybody would love that, because everybody doesn't really have what you have. And so I'm asking you to not give them what they want, to give them what they could never find for themselves. Show them the possibility and the potential of what it means to literally pick up your bed and walk. A lot of divine feminines aren't necessarily going to walk alone. And so when you start to walk, you're walking in a high honor. Meaning you don't have to necessarily see or sense your glow, or you may not even perceive your own divinity, but that doesn't make it less real or less true. And so if you are questioning yourself, if you were thinking, did I make a wrong decision? If you were thinking about changing or stopping, or I'm telling you, that is the trick of the enemy. Get out of that casket. Get out of that casket and keep going. Keep the manifestation alive. Even if I said in another video, maybe this week you organize and then the next week you color code. What I didn't say is that, once you color code, and this could be anything you're creating, it's the organization of it. When you organize it in front of you, you are organizing it in your mind at the same time. And so on Monday, everything that you have put in the yellow folder or the yellow bin gets touched on Monday. Everything that you have put in the red bin or the red folder, you touch it on Tuesday. And I'm talking about small bites, because these missions are big and they are mighty. But you got to eat it one bite at a time. And in the process of you eating it, yes, people are throwing everything at you but the kitchen sink. And I'm saying that was always expected, because everything that they throw is essentially a weight that you would have had to have lifted anyway in order to gain the muscle, to gain the knowledge, to gain the insight, the wisdom, the awareness. And so although projections are uncomfortable, although the sabotage is hateful and it doesn't feel good, it's not enough. It will never be enough. And people essentially are going to die trying to bring you back to the state that they can never escape from. A lot of people are willing to die trying. And maybe it's not a physical death, but their health is going to die. Their finances are going to lessen. Their finances are going to shrink. And a lot of people can't even imagine, like, wow, my health is depleting. My money's acting funny. And they still don't have enough sense. They still don't have enough maturity to look at self and to figure out, why is that person growing and nothing is growing for me? Some people are not mature enough. Their only response is to just stop you from doing what you're doing. And I'm telling you that if you believe them and if you give them the satisfaction of watching you put your manifestation down, then they win, the devil wins, and you got to go back to that damn casket that you know you were not supposed to be in. There is a union that comes with a lot of divine feminines walking in their own manifestations. And it doesn't have to be romantic. It doesn't have to be a marriage. This says that there will be a marriage. But I got to interpret this two ways. I feel like a lot of us are due to have love that is unconditional. We are supposed to have love that is fair and balanced and consistent. If I show you affection, I need to trust that the affection is going to be returned. I think a lot of us have not had connections like that. And so once you walk in your own authenticity, you essentially are putting a call out to the universe saying, hey, do you see the energy I'm moving in? That is the exact energy that I want to be returned to me, but in the form of a person, in the form of a friend, in the form of a spouse, in the form of a network or a team or a group, right? But you gotta move authentically. You have to move authentically if you're ever gonna ask for things to be authentically sent to you. And this is where the delusion comes in. The same thing that you're manifesting, the same thing that you're wanting and creating, everybody that is projecting the evil eyes on you, they want the same thing, but they're not willing to surrender. They're not willing to stop the things that they've been doing that have put them in the same position that they can't get out of, right? And so that is delusion. It's asking God for something, but then not being able to surrender. It's like, well, take your fucking hands off of it. If you want the answer to come, stop, right? A lot of divine feminines are the answer for their family, for their community, for their bloodline, for their lineage. But as long as people are offended with the way you move, then they will never be able to benefit from your presence. Right? And so can you imagine, I think I've said this in another video, like it's essentially you're in groups of people that need new hearts and you're the heart surgeon. And they're so offended that you know how to fix the heart that they're just going to attack you, not recognizing that when they attack you, they also attack their own ability to be able to heal, right? So now nobody can heal because you're offended. Nobody can heal because you're full of pride. Nobody can heal because you won't surrender. I mean, how childish is this? Right? But these are adults. These are adults with children. These are adults with responsibilities. These are adults with households, right? But arrested development is real. And so for you to not be stuck and stagnant and for you to be able to move and grow, it is offensive, you know? And it's only offensive because they just don't know that they have the same ability. They don't know. And so if you are questioning your own expression, stop. Express yourself. When you express yourself, you are essentially getting your justice. And if you stop expressing and if you keep questioning, then you will fall into the trap. You will fall into the trap. And the trap, it almost seems to come right before you get to introduce yourself. Hi, when you think about being the greatest version of self that you are in the process of creating, whether you have the same name or whether you have a new title, whether you have something, when you express yourself, when you finally introduce yourself in the way that you know you are growing and building yourself to become, it's like the trap is right there. They just want you to fall one more time. You know, they don't even want the words to come out of your mouth. They don't even want you to be able to say hello and so the energy in my physical or personal space is very thick. There are a lot of people that I've met on this, as a result of this space. And sometimes we'll email, and when I tell you that anytime I've tried to have a friend or a connection, it just goes left. And so if any of you are like wanting to reach out and connect, and if I am not really taking the initiative to like a lot of people have opened the door for me and just said, hey, Tennille, like you can come in, we can talk, we can be friends. Like I appreciate that. But I understand that the current environment I'm in, it doesn't even really want Tennille to be Tennille. And so for me to have to fight to be Tennille and then to learn how to fight to explore a new friendship, it's just not the season I'm in. So I'm asking that if I have never really followed through on the initiative, it is not an indication of how I feel about a connection with you. I understand my environment and I understand where I am, and I know that there are sometimes that people will request certain things of me that I am not called to answer to. I am not called to respond to. And so although the gesture is very polite and kind, there is definitely a consequence when I start moving in ways that I have not been told to move, right? I mean, even me being a mom is a challenge in this environment. The joy, the love that I share with my children, it can become offensive to those that have never experienced that or who have never provided that to their own children, right? And in order to keep the lie alive that they have told themselves, I'm a good mother, I'm a good, a lot of people say that they're a good mother and they're really not. But they got to believe the lie to be able to exist in their own body again and again, day after day, right? And so literally me being a mom is a challenge. Me being Tennille is a challenge. Me choosing to move differently, eat differently, talk differently, think like anything about me being me is essentially offensive. And so for me to already figure out how to just exist as myself, as authentic as I can in this space, but then to pick up friendships and then to try to, I've done it enough to know that I cannot do it while I'm here. And I appreciate the fact that I'm really not able to do it while I'm here because it forces me to do this on my own. It forces me to stay focused. It forces me to stay grounded. And so I love the connections. I would love to explore them, but that is not the assignment that I was given in this season right now. And so when I don't follow through on the initiative, I'm asking you to not take it personal, but to understand that even doing the normal things, like ordering my children food or ordering things from Amazon, is enough to piss people off where I am right now, right? Like basic stuff is enough to irritate people. And so for me to be walking around on a phone, laughing, having fun, listen, I'm already going to deal with a lot of stuff. And so what I'm saying is that I don't want to add more. Let me just fight the way I've been fighting. And when the season is appropriate to entertain connections in that way, like I'm totally going to do it. But y'all, it is a struggle to just be natural and normal. It's a struggle. Not for me, but for those watching me, which means I need to be prepared spiritually to defend myself, because nobody will ever say to me how they really feel. Never will say it to my face. Never. But when the door closes or they sit in their little spaces, you know what I mean? So obviously, if you're in my energy, if you're feeling some kind of way about me, if you're watching my videos, even if you're 10 feet away from me, you cannot be inside of my space without me knowing. You can't. There's no thought that you can have about me that I'm not going to pick up on. And it's wild to me that a lot of people want to get out of the casket and they want to be alive again, but you're literally sending me death, wondering why you don't have any new opportunities appearing in your life. What are you thinking and feeling on the inside about other people who are transforming their lives? If you're offended by them changing, why do you think the universe is hearing that you want to change? You're essentially saying, I don't like change. I don't like growth. I don't like transformation. I don't like people who aren't afraid. I don't like people who aren't limited, And so a lot of the people that are going to attack you when you start walking forward with your manifestation are the same people that can't understand why they're not walking forward next to you. And it's because, what is your internal dialogue like? What are your real thoughts? What are your real feelings saying? How can you be surprised that you're wishing death on the other and all you're walking through is death? Why are you surprised about that? Right? But this is the emotional immaturity. So your justice is your manifestation. Your justice is your calling. And as long as you carry the manifestation, you will walk out of the casket and never return. There are a lot of people who, in the process of you walking and carrying whatever it is you're supposed to carry, they are only going to want you to return. They're going to want you to lay down. They're going to want you to close that lid and to just forget about it. Y'all, that's pretty much the reading, but it's actually my personal life at the same time. And this happens a lot where the energy that I'm feeling, although I go through the same method, I pray, I cleanse, I do what I have to do to prepare for the collective reading. And so oftentimes when I see my story in front of me, I know that I just have to say what it is. So listen, you are a high honor person. And at some point, you're going to have to introduce yourself and the status that you were divinely called to, like you're going to have to be in that status and finally introduce yourself to the world in that way. And so everything is wanting you to question your own expression. Your expression is your creativity. It is a piece of God that you are meant to carry and get out to the world. And so people would much rather you just fall into the trap and not move into the status of high honor, not move into the relationships that are going to reflect your own identity back to you, right? When you deal with betrayal and deception, it is only to make you feel like you are making the wrong decision. It is not God telling you that you're doing something wrong or you shouldn't know. I mean, God is not going to give you the assignment. God is not going to send you the email and the text message and give you the idea and the download and then torment and terrorize you while you're trying to make it come to fruition. Like, no, that's not how it works. And so honor the call. Honor the manifestation, honor the creativity and the gift in you, and keep moving forward. Even if you have to hold it and stop. Y'all, some days the manifestation is going to be heavy. Some days your arms are going to ache. Your legs are going to be weak. Like you're going to go through all of the things, right? And this is not necessarily easy. Nobody says it's easy. But listen, if it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was easy, everybody would do this. So the fact that you're doing what is not easy and what most people won't do is a testament to the power and the gifts and the abilities that you carry. So not only can you carry the calling, not only can you manifest the calling from the spirit to the 3D, but you can endure, you're resilient, right? You can still be kind and you can still smile. And there's no projection or no evil eye that makes you bitter, right? Sometimes people just want you to be like them. Just be like me so that I don't feel so bad about being me. Just make me comfortable in my own shit, please. Right? But I don't know how to be comfortable in my own shit for too long. Sometimes I do, but just not for too long. We're not going to make a decade out of it. I'm not going to be so comfortable in my own shit that I just pass it on to my kid. Like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And so I love y'all. Keep going. Keep going. Don't drop it. You're literally carrying your justice. And in the process of carrying your justice, you may experience a lot of injustices in order to get you to drop it. And I'm asking you to keep going. Not that I have to ask, not that I have to tell, but this is just a motivation. If anybody was feeling like I was feeling today, then maybe this is really just a message to myself. But yeah, I mean, it is real out here. Like I would say in this April of 2025, 2 years ago, so April of 2023, I had a 90-minute session with, we don't really say names, but there is, but like if you email me and you want to know, I can tell you, I had like a 90-minute session with a spiritual teacher on YouTube. And everything that she said would unfold for me. Once I decided to carry this forward, it has unfolded, right? All the good and all the bad. She told me that I would grow. She said I would grow very fast, but she also said that I'm essentially declaring, this is a battle. You know, I'm essentially choosing to accept the fight that has been sent to me, all because I just want to carry what God asked me to carry. And a lot of people don't understand that it's the devil that they are carrying inside of them that is attempting to stop me from expressing the God that's inside of me. And so if they have lived in fear, if they have been limited, if they have been doubtful, if they didn't know how to free themselves, then the devil in them will attempt to link up with the devil in me, hoping, that I will agree to the same plan that they have agreed to for the way their own life unfolds. All right, y'all. I love you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.